important is our material development and our addiction to a kind of blind materialism to the point of a materialistic idolatry, because we know that in many religions idolatry is not the path to God.
Hello, everybody, and good afternoon. Very happy to see you again through our popular You channel, You podcast. In this podcast, we discuss many issues ranging from religion, philosophy, culture, and perhaps also politics. And today, we are very honored to have with us a prominent scholar all the way from India, from Madras Institute of Development Studies in India. He is Professor Ananta Kumar Giri. Welcome to you, sir, to Surabaya and to UIN Sunan Ampel Surabaya. We enjoy your talks today. We enjoy a great deal, so many discourses, so many ideas, and we are still thirsty of diving deeper into your ideas, but we don't have enough time. In this podcast, we only want to speak informally concerning who you are and what is the purpose of you travel to Indonesia, you visit to Surabaya. What do you think of our culture, of our traffic perhaps? Because you were in Jakarta as well. What do you think of the traffic? What do you think of the food? You were talking about the anthropology of the food. Perhaps you can give us your idea of what do you think of our food, and perhaps also the close cultural relationship between Indonesia and India, considering that India uh, is not alien to Indonesia. We are very familiar with India, Indian food, Indian culture, Indian movie songs. So, what do you think? Are there any surprises coming to Indonesia, having seen perhaps so many similarities in our culture with Indian culture? So let us start with yourself. Can you introduce yourself, who you are, and what do you do in life to make a good contribution for our endangered world, so to speak? Yes, to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dean, Professor Kadi, and thank you all friends who are part of our practice of podcast You Dialogue today. Thank you, this great university. So, I am Ananta Kumar Giri, born in a village in India 60 years ago, and I always have tried to not to forget that my first identity is a student of life.
Mm.
So, so as a student of life, I got an opportunity to meet a very dear and respected friend, Dr. Philip Corliss van Uford, from Free University, Amsterdam, who is a student of Indonesia, religion and development in Indonesia.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
And together with him, and he is a very different kind of scholar, because in those difficult days in Indonesia, when it was under a military rule and when our brothers and sisters were kind of breathing for freedom, and so he supported groups like Persik in Salatiga, and the founder of Persik, Dr. Prajato, whom I met just a few days ago. And so in 2003, in with Philip Quarles, I co-edited a book called A Moral Critique of Development. And with Philip's commitment to Indonesia and development of social science in Bahasa Indonesia, so, and collaboration of Dr. Prajato, Persik, Philip, and many friends, and I want to remember some of them. Professor Bob Hadibinita from Unpar, Bandung, and Professor Hadibinita is no more with us. We pay respect to his beautiful soul. And I just came to know yesterday that he has left the world in 2019. Professor Hadibinita and Professor Onwar, anthropologist from Gajamada, and Dr. Farsiana and Bernie from Gajamada, and many intellectuals of Indonesia were part of this conference in 2003 to have a discussion on development. Also inaugurate the translation of our book, A Moral Critique of Development in Bahasa Indonesia.
Very interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What is your definition of development? Is it purely economic, social, or cultural, or all of them? What do you think of it?
First of all, development itself is a spontaneous process of blossoming like a flower and like we are as human beings. But in the discourse of development and modernity, it has been very isolated. And therefore, just economic development or infrastructural development. In reality, development is life itself. Secondly, development includes economic development, infrastructural development, then our political, moral, and spiritual development.
Yeah, very interesting. Considering that you were speaking of the moral critique of development, are you seeing that there are something wrongs with our, say, material development that we need to do moral critique of it? Or what do you mean by moral critique of development?
Yes, so important. Yes, our material development and our addiction to a kind of blind materialism to the point of a materialistic idolatry, because we know that in many religions idolatry is not the path to God,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
to put
yeah.
it mildly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But a long time ago, I think it is Francis Bacon who had said that there are idols of the marketplace also.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so today we are living in a epoch of market, money, and a kind of a product idolatry. And this is not just innocent. This has profound destructive implication of who we are as a person and our impact on environment. For example, we need, a phone with us.
Yeah, yeah.
But it is
yeah.
a reality that many people have 3, 4 phones. Many people have more than one car. Now, this is a profoundly immoral act to have today. More
Yeah,
than one
yeah,
car
yeah.
for a family. And then we would have to make an adjustment. If a family has a terrible necessity, but just that we would go on, and today I see in Indonesia, I'm surprised how so many people have so many big cars. And
Like somewhere else in the world.
sorry,
Like somewhere else in the world, you have people that have so many cars, so many big.
but
Yeah.
but the big cars I have seen in Indonesia, certainly I have not seen that many big cars in India.
Oh, okay, okay,
On
okay,
the part
okay.
of normal people, they have big cars.
Yeah,
Now, is
yeah.
it necessary? For example, we can have small cars, and how, what does so many big cars do to a very, still Indonesia is a challenging society. Here the reality is that it is so beautiful. I am so happy when I come to universities and our students are inspiring.
Yeah, yeah.
And but it is also reality that many young people of Indonesia, they are not able to enter colleges and universities.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So here we have the culture of being lazy to walk. People, yeah, yeah, people are being spoiled uh, by motorcycle. So instead of walking 100 meters, then you ride on motorcycle just to reach 100 meter from where you are. So we are very lazy in that sense, and therefore you see our streets are full with motorcycle. Then on top of that, people are also competing each other to have beautiful cars, although they cannot afford it. Some of them. So that is blind materialism that you were talking about. Now, interestingly, here in Indonesia, 80% of our people are Muslims. Now, is there any way of Islam being the solution of come to terms with this blind materialism? And in that regard, also other religion like Hinduism, considering that we are living in a blind materialistic world. Everywhere you go, then it is about money. Some people say that our modern world is about a continuous fight between God and money. And in some instances, money wins over God. Capitalism wins over religion. So our job, our task is to find ways of coming to terms with this blind materialism. It is not only materialism, but blind materialism. That is how dangerous our world is nowadays. So, what do you think of having seen the reality in Indonesia? People having fun with cars, with luxurious houses, regardless of the economic situation. What do you think can we do to find some way in our religion that can deal with the danger of blind materialism?
Now, first of all, we experience the unsustainability of it. For example, if we are to give a practical example of hell, HELL, then one example could be the traffic jam.
That is
Okay.
interesting. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And
Yeah.
then those people who are in the traffic jam,
Mm-mm.
the pain and suffering of it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's real.
Yeah, yeah.
So then what can we do about it?
Yeah, yeah.
So then a multi-pronged approach, for example, to have creative network of public transport,
Mm, mm.
for example, bicycling, walking, metros, public transport, buses, and some cars.
Mm, mm.
And it requires a transition. Think of how interesting, I'm just coming from the Muhammadiyah University, UNISA, Women's University in Yogyakarta
Yeah, yeah,
yesterday.
yeah.
Very creative program.
Yes,
They have a
yes.
program in midwifery,
Mm,
in
mm.
family studies. Now, if the religious leaders themselves, that they bring our attention, think
Yeah,
of,
yeah, yeah.
and here I remember visiting a pesantren during my last visit in 2017 or 20. Yes, 2017. So it is my fifth visit. 2017, during that visit, I went to a Pasantran. This Pasantran is saying that we are a green Pasantran.
Yeah, yeah.
That therefore, if religious leaders, the mosques and also churches and the temples, they bring this, as a way, everything begins through a learning process. Like, for example, I was coming with the train from Jokia yesterday, and this is a non-smoking train.
Yes, yes, yes.
Now, it is still possible that people of Indonesia, how many of them, they cannot live without smoking for more than 2 hours. They are able to survive in a train
Yes, yes.
for,
For 5 hours.
yes, it's possible. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
requires a kind of a creative transitioning, and but at the root of it is certain practical steps that we could do.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the other
yeah.
thing I want to say, that what I have been touched by Indonesia and the beauty. And it is not just natural beauty, it is the beauty of the people. And secondly, still Islam is a living religion in Indonesia.
Yes, yes, yes.
And it is living in a very, very gentle way. And when, like in the train yesterday, I'll give you an experience. I was speaking with my friend who was my neighbor. We spoke, a very kind man. He even wrote a poem in my book. I can present you later.
Yes.
And just he said that, excuse me for a moment. And then he went to the washroom, he washed his feet, and he came and prayed in the train.
Yeah, yeah.
And it is a very spontaneous kind of piety. He didn't even say that I am going to pray. And when he did that, I also do my evening prayer.
Oh, that's nice.
Then
Yeah.
I came and washed my hand, and I also joined him in prayer without saying that I am doing the prayer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I have experienced such living spirituality, which is so beautiful, which is so attractive. Spirituality attracts us,
Yes, yes,
but
yes.
this kind of exclusionary religious assertion repels us. This is a reality. In Indonesia, I have found spirituality which is attractive, which is beautiful. There is a profound revolution happening in Indonesia, especially when men and women can pray together in a mosque.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As a matter of fact, it is not only in Indonesia in a mosque, men and women can pray together. Even in the Holy Land of Mecca and Medina, men and women can pray together, but with a divide. So you cannot mix with one another. There is still a space special for women and another space for men, but still in the same mosque. So that's what we do in Indonesia as well. But in other part of the world, like in South Africa, in Cape Town, for instance, I came to experience where in a mosque, women and men pray together in a mosque without a veil. Without a veil. In Indonesia, you still use the veil to differentiate between men and women in the mosque.
But just one addition here, that all the mosques I have seen, there is no bell.
Is it?
There is no dividing line.
Oh, that is interesting.
No dividing line. For example, where I was, I was, coming from Samarang to Salatiga on the
Yeah,
Friday
yeah, yeah.
with our respected Pa Mundir from Islamic University, Wali Songo.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
went to there was no dividing
No
line.
veil. Very interesting.
And in Gajamada University,
No veil.
no, well, no.
Very interesting. Yeah. Right, Professor Ananta, I think that what we have time for. We have been sitting here for 20 minutes, but I feel as if it's only 1 minute. So time flies very, very fast. So we want again thank you for your coming to our university and to our podcast. And we hope to see you again. If you come to Indonesia, please let us know. And we do hope that we can establish stronger relationship between our faculty and you, faculty back to India. Please keep in touch and have a very nice journey back to Solo or to Jogja. And then after that, to India. God bless you, inshallah. Thank you very much. And that we have time for with this wonderful and prominent scholar from India. And we wish that we can see him again some other time. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.